Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Wealth and Wisdom with Fred Belcastro from the John DeVito Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich on Friday, March the 16th, the year 2018. And now, friends, here he is, Mr. Fred Belcastro.
When you're smiling,
When you're smiling,
when you're smiling,
and the whole world smiles with you.
smiles with you.
And when you're laughing,
When you're laughing,
oh, you're laughing.
oh, you're laughing,
When the sun comes shining through.
shining through.
When you're crying,
When you're crying,
you bring on the rain.
bring on the
Stop
rain.
your sighing.
Stop your sighing,
Won't you be happy again?
happy again.
When you're smiling,
When you're smiling,
keep on smiling.
Good morning and welcome to the Wealth and Wisdom Show. My name is Fred Belcastro, and I'm going to be your host over the next 30 minutes as we provide financial clarity so that you can create, cultivate, and keep your wealth in a tax-efficient manner. And of course, we're once again broadcasting from the John DeVito Broadcast Center here on the northwest side of Chicago. John DeVito is directing our program this morning, and I usually say that every week. I talk about broadcasting from the John DeVito Broadcast Center here on the northwest side of Chicago. It just rolls off your lips after you've said it so many times, and we fail to realize that John's been in this business some 50-plus years and has been station manager in most of the stations around Chicagoland. And so we're very, very fortunate to be able to broadcast under the direction of Mr. John DeVito, because he is somebody in the radio business. And of course, I once again will talk about you're listening to your favorite station. I hope it's your favorite station. It's a local station right here in Norwich, and I usually say it's Jack FM, and you know it's FM because you switch the dial. You may go from AM to FM. You know it's FM. Why I say that, I don't know. It's just something you get accustomed to saying. Jack FM 89.7. And there it is again. The obvious, talking about 89.7. You know it's 89.7. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hearing the voice and the music this morning. But nevertheless, that's what we do. And we do things sometimes as a matter of habit. And that's a little bit about what I'm going to talk about this morning. The habit of spending money. We listen to a show and a program, and a fellow gets on and says, I am an expert in this, and I'm an expert of that. I specialize in this, and I specialize in that. And people ask me the same thing. What are you doing? I have to say, after 50 years, I'm still in the financial service business, but I think I bring to the table a very unique approach. It's a unique approach because I help people. I help people find money. Now, do you have a financial advisor that helps you find money? I help you find the money that you're losing. You're currently losing unknowingly, and if you knew you were throwing it down the sewer, you have enough sense to realize that you don't want to do that. So I help people find money that they're currently losing unknowingly, and of course, the biggest is unnecessarily. You don't have to do the things you're doing. No product in the world is going to become an instant silver bullet to capture our lives and create a wonderland. Realistically, there's only two ways any advisor across the world can help individuals financially. Either you find better products that potentially pay higher returns, and I say potentially because there is no guarantee. We drive down the street looking in the rearview mirror. Here's something that did well last year, or the year before, and we have to provide a disclaimer saying, yeah, but that was last year, the year before, and the year before that. What it's going to do this year and the year after you buy it, who knows? You see, because when we go for that potential higher return, we're also incurring more risk. That's right. Use the expression over and over again. Driving from here to Milwaukee, we've got a half a day to do it. Are we going to drive at 80, 90, 100 miles an hour take on more risk with our automobile, challenging our own lives and the lives of others on the road? It's ridiculous. It's silly. Why do we want risk? You see, the Wallendas, they walk a tightrope. There's risk. Do we want to do that? We want to take on more risk in our lives? And yet we sometimes pant like puppies thinking, oh, this is going to cure it. This is going to give me 15%. This is going to be 16%. And then we come to the edge of the plank. And I've been doing this for a number of years, long enough to have individuals talk to me about what they've done in the past. And one individual bought bonds that were fallen angels. The fallen angels are bonds that were, at one time, angels, good bonds, good companies, sound, triple A insured, whatever. They were just sound bonds, and yet have fallen because the companies are entering bankruptcy or what have you. But they're in default. They're unable to pay their. And in order to sell these bonds, you have to give promise a high rate of return. These were, I think, at the time, something like 17%. And the man was in poor physical health, and at this stage of his life, wanted to do something for his family that he knew he needed to do because of not planning prior to this occurrence. Bought these bonds, and they did go in default, and he lost the money, and he was telling me about it. So yeah, we could take more risk when we're at the end of the plank and there's no alternatives. But while we're sitting here talking, having a cup of coffee or drinking our water or going about our business, why take unnecessary risks? All right, that's one way to help people, I guess, is to buy a better product or chase a better product. Maybe you could make some money on. The other way, the way that I prefer, because I prefer doing this, I'm going to change your beliefs. I'm going to change your attitudes. I'm going to change, and I've certainly changed mine through the 50 years. I guess when I talk about wealth and wisdom, I'm talking about a degree of wisdom to say, hey, quit trying to chase that angel. Quit trying to chase that fallen angel out of the sky. And my philosophy is to be more efficient by avoiding those unnecessary losses. Just avoid the losses. So when we start planning a program, when we start looking at your model, your income model, your economic model, start by avoiding the losses. Then we don't have to take the risks. I believe I have a greater opportunity to serve my clients by helping them avoid the losses than by, at the beginning of every year or every relationship, throwing the darts and trying to pick a winner. Yeah, we've got this product, we've got that product, we got this product. And every year, it seems as though every year or every now and then, a money manager will come along and say, yeah, this is gonna cure our ills. And for a good length of time, I used Bill Gross from PIMCO, and Bill just was a phenomenal bond manager, money manager, and for a lot of safe, conservative accounts, Bill Gross did an excellent job. But you have to look at the times. Things change, and today he's maybe not doing as well as he personally is doing well, but I mean the funds aren't doing as well as they did. Just understanding that we used to say vacillates. Vacillate seems like a better word than crash or go up and down. Fluctuate, bad word, that means up and down. We don't want to say that. We say the market's going to wiggle a little bit. Yeah, just hold on. Just hold on. You hold on to an anchor, you drown. But yet we advise the people to hold on. You're in it for the long haul. The long haul, we're all dead. Nobody wants to tell us that, though. But what I look at when I start a program, of course, of changing beliefs, I look at how people are potentially losing most of their dollars unknowingly in the unnecessarily part. First of all, you got to look at how you're paying your mortgage. We did a show here on mortgage and returns on mortgage. I'll talk about that a little bit later, perhaps. But That's a big area. That's a big area where it's costing us an awful lot of money unnecessarily. How we pay our taxes. Keep an eye on your silent partner. Oh yeah, the IRS, the government is your partner. Whenever we receive money, we feed our partner. So we got to keep an eye on our partner, though. Make sure everything is as it should be, and that we don't pay any more than pay your taxes, pay whatever's necessary. But the government doesn't want us to pay any more than is necessary. And then let's pay attention to how we fund our retirement accounts. We find ourselves putting more than is necessary. Does it work out arithmetically? In our interest, not in a mutual fund company or in any other industry or financial industry. Does it work out to our benefit? So we ought to pay more, never mind, to our financial accounts. And how we fund our children's education. Do we do that with a lot of risk? That's another area that we often spend money, lose money unnecessarily, and then of course how we pay for our big capital purchases. How do we buy our car? How do we pay for our cars? How do you pay for your daughter's weddings? How do you pay for your vacation? I heard this individual family that puts their vacation on a credit card and then pay for it when they return. Understanding that the dollars that we promise that we're indebted for, subtract from our future lifestyle. So if I have a $400 interest charge or interest expense on credit cards and revolving charges and whatnot, don't you know that takes $400 off of our lifestyle for next year or next month, next week? You see, it reduces our lifestyle. Do we ever pay any attention to that? So we come to the 4 questions that I think everyone should have the answer to. And they are, do you know what rate return? Do you know what amount of interest you have to earn on your savings and investment tanks to be able to retire at your current standard of living? And then have your money last through your life expectancy. Do we know what rate of interest we know? And this is what I've talked about as position A, if you please. Enough money in our savings and investment tanks so that when our income stops, we have our Social Security coming in, and then we have what we've sent ahead. Because all that's going to be there when we get there is what we've sent ahead. If we haven't filled our tanks, if we don't have a sufficient amount of dollars in our safe tanks, in our investment tanks, we're not going to be able to retire as we'd like. So, do you know what rate of return you need? Do you know how much more you have to feed the tanks? Do you know how much more you're going to have to save on a monthly or annual basis to be able to retire at your current standard of living and yet have a sufficient amount of income to live your life expectancy? Yeah. Do you know if what you're doing, we're going along, we're doing something good. Well, how much longer you plan on working? How much longer do we need to work to be able to retire and live? As we're at our present standard of living throughout our life expectancy. And of course, the one thing I've seen so much is that, do you know, if you don't do anything more than what you're currently doing, we don't do anything different. We don't change anything. We don't change any of our beliefs or our habits. We don't do anything different than what we're doing right now. Come on, how much will we have to reduce our standard of living at retirement for that money to last us for the rest of our lives? Yeah, 4 questions, simple questions. Meet with me for about 15 minutes. I can answer those questions. I'll be able to answer those questions for you, and you'll be able to determine. And this is a point. It's all about you, as I've said over and over again. So find out, get the answers to those 4 questions, and then you're able to determine if I'll be able to help you. If my philosophy is one that you're looking for, is what I do what you're looking for. if you have 15 minutes, sometime next week, give me a call. Meet with you, and we'll get the answer to those 4 questions for you. My phone number is area 630-673-4360. You know, I never have to have to apologize to my wife or any of my loved ones or any of the ones that I'm responsible for. So I hope I won't have to ask for your forgiveness.
Forgive me, please forgive me. I didn't mean to make you cry. I love you and I need you. Do anything, but don't say goodbye. Let bygones just be bygones. We all make mistakes now and then. I'm sorry. Forgive me, my dear, and let's be sweethearts again. I love you and I need you. Do anything but don't say goodbye. Let bygones just be bygones. We all make mistakes now and then. I'm sorry. Forgive me, my dear, and let's be sweethearts again.
Well, that was Mr. Eddie Fisher. What a voice that gentleman had singing Forgive Me. It had to be the early 50s, 52, 53, I don't recall, but I was sitting in the back seat of a car of one of the friends of mine. We were going to high school. We went to Foreman High School, like many of the people from Norwich area did, because of not having a high school that was convenient for us. So we went to Foreman High School down Belmont Avenue. I remember sitting in the back seat of a car on the way to school and hearing that Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds were getting a divorce. And we, of course, Debbie Reynolds was one of America's sweethearts at that time, and we thought, how could Eddie Fisher divorce, Debbie Reynolds? And then, of course, he went on to marry it for a short time, Elizabeth Taylor. But that song, Forgive Me, has a special meaning for the Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds fans, I'm sure. And as well as the next one we'll play a little bit later, and I'll go on to explain why I chose that one as well. But we're back. We're going to continue our discussion with our program, and I want to thank you for the support you've given not only this show, but the radio station here at Jack FM 89.7 WRHS. There I said it again. But all kidding aside, it's a great station run by some great people, and we thank you for your enthusiastic support. Well, boils down to a couple of questions. Simple question. Let me start with a simple question. You're listening to this radio show, and you're listening to me each and every week, and I've got to ask you a question. Hey, what do you want? What do you want your financial position to look like? And I hesitated after I say, hey, what do you want? You've got to understand that I grew up on the West Side, and so my dialect. I have a very good friend, taught English for 30-some years out of high school out in Blue Island, Eisenhower High School in Blue Island. Nevertheless, he said, Fred, he says, you're from the West Side, because of the mannerisms and the speech. But nevertheless, what do you want out of your financial future? What do you think it should be? All right, let me just tell you what I want. What I'm asking you. Finish this sentence for me. Say, listen, I want my future standard of living. I want my future lifestyle to be. All right, some choices. Do you want it better than it is today? Do you want it the same as it is today? Or number 3, do you want a lifestyle that's worse than it is today? Well, you're not going to say it's worse. You said I want it better, or I want it just as good as it is now. So, do you ever think of what our belief system has to be in order to help that come into the area that I want? I want my lifestyle to be just as good, and the flow of money to be just as good in the future, in my retirement, as I do today. All that's going to be there is what I send ahead. You've got to understand that, and you've got to provide a margin of inflation as well. Don't forget that sales tax is reducing our purchasing power by, on average, 3% a year. And I hesitate when I say on average. Bucket, one arm in bucket of hot water, and the other arm in ice water. On average, we're comfortable, but it takes a bigger bite. Inflation takes a bigger bite out of our living expenses than we can come to realize. But understand that right now we're just spending money, and we're spending money, and we call that our lifestyle. Well, we sit back and relax. The checks are coming in every month, every week. How often they flow, and they flow through our checkbook. And once they hit our checkbook, once they come into us, they have to be taxed. So everything that we can spend, we have to pay a tax on that as well. And then, of course, we can make a determination what we're going to send on ahead, what we're going to save, and how much we're going to spend. You know, the one thing I think about the current spending is that all of that money that we get to spend, once it's spent, it's gone. It's gone and gone forever. There's maybe an exception to that, the money that we put into our house or we pay our mortgage with. But other than that, our lifestyle money, once it's spent, it's gone. There is no capturing of those dollars. So it's important to know, understand. I think it's important to feel that your house is a current lifestyle expense. It's not an investment. You're not living in a house as an investment. When you pay extra on your mortgage, we've talked about this. I think a couple of months ago. Does the value of your house go up? You know, all the houses on our block, they appreciate. Do they appreciate because I owe less or you owe more or my home's paid for? You see, if we pay extra on our house, on our mortgage payments, as a lot of young people are in the belief to do, does your payments go down? Say, I made a double payment this month. I don't have to pay next month, or does it reduce my payments for the year? You know, no. Can you get to your money without having to pay for it? You know, if you want to take that money back, you could borrow it, but you got to pay for it. You got to pay interest on that. See, so the money in your house, you've got to understand, doesn't earn anything. doesn't earn interest, and that interest isn't compounding because most people tell me that they want their money to compound, you see. So the value of the house is either appreciates, goes up, and then, of course, we know that because of the recent bubble, it can depreciate. It becomes less valuable. So when you think of all the expenses that we have, we had to pay the taxes. Hard to think of it as being an investment. We got to get a new roof. We have to fix the plumbing. We need a new furnace. These things. Do you still want to call it an investment? We had to put all this money in. It quite conceivably could be the worst investment we have. But which brings me to the next song, talking about an investment in time. Let's listen to Miss Edith Piaf.
No regrets. No, I will have no regrets. All the things that went wrong, for at the last I have learned to be strong. No regrets. No, I will have no regrets. For the grief doesn't last, it is gone. I've forgotten the past and the memories I had. I no longer desire both the good and the bad. I have flung in the fire, and I feel in my heart that the seed has been sown. It is something quite new. It's like nothing I've known. No regrets. No, I will have no regrets. All the things that went wrong, for at the last I have learned to be strong. No regrets. No, I will have no regrets. For this seed that is new, it's the love that is growing for you.
Edith Piaf, a French singer, singing "No Regrets." You probably, by the style and by the dialect, understood that she was French. The reason I played that song, along with Eddie Fisher's "Forgive Me," Edith Piaf was Marcel Cerdan's mistress, and it was well known. She was a well-known mistress. Marcel Cerdan, probably one of the great middleweight championships of the 40s, of the champion fighters of the 40s, was killed in a plane crash on his way to recapture the title from Jake LaMotta, who he had lost in a decision after. And Cerdan beat Tony Zale in New Jersey to get that title. But nevertheless, it was well known. Marcel Cerdan and his wife had a special arrangement. They weren't getting a divorce for religious reasons, and it was well known that Edith was his mistress, and she sang that song after his death, and received a standing ovation. Well, anyway, all right, our time is up. We've run out of time as usual. It takes about 30 minutes for me to run out of time because that's a 30-minute show. So I guess it comes out even. Nevertheless, thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. Thanks for the suggestions, recommendations, and everything good about not only this station but the people that listen to it as well. So until next week, we'll talk to you then. And in the meantime, come on, let's make somebody smile.
When you're smiling,
When you're smiling,
when you're smiling,
when you're smiling,
and the whole world smiles with you. And when you're laughing,
when you're laughing,
oh, you're laughing.
oh, you're laughing,
When the sun comes shining through.
shining through.
When you're crying,
When you're crying,
you bring on the rain.
bring on the
Stop
rain.
your sighing.
Stop your sighing,
Won't you be happy again?
happy again.
When you're smiling,
When you're smiling,
keep on smiling.
keep on smiling.
And the world will smile with you. Let's go now. Let's go, Sam.
You have been listening to Wealth and Wisdom with Fred Belcastro from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Friday, March the 16th, the year 2018. This broadcast was directed by John DeVita. Our special thanks to radio station manager Kevin Zeflik of WRHS FM Norwich and the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Chikondo. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening. Today's broadcast was pre-recorded on Wednesday, March the 14th, the year 2018. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM, Norwich, Illinois. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend.